Welcome back to Hashtag Single with Jeanette Bonner. I am not a relationship expert or sex therapist. I'm just a regular New York City woman navigating the world as a single, independent feminist. Hashtag Single is about having honest conversations with other singles in today's device-obsessed culture. So I hope you'll join me on this interesting, challenging, and complex journey as we navigate the ins and outs of singledom. Hello. Welcome back to Hashtag Single. This is Jeanette. I am your host, and I am here today with my lovely friend Priyanka. Thank you for being on the podcast with me.
Hello. Fucking thrilled to be here.
Thrilled.
I should have asked you.
If you could curse, girl, that is not my...
Okay.
I don't know. Can we? We haven't gone there yet, but thank you for breaking the seal.
Well, you're welcome, world.
It's going to be a good time, you guys. Also, if that offends you, maybe it's time to tune out right now. And Priyanka brought her friend Jonathan.
Hello.
Jonathan, thank you for being here.
Of course.
We just met, and I love bringing strangers into this crazy world. I was like, hey, did you listen to the podcast? And he's like, no. I'm like, good.
Oh, this one's delicious.
Delicious.
Oh, what a lovely word.
I wish I had friends that called me delicious. That's so nice.
Well, you are entirely delicious. I don't work with undelicious people.
So you're going to call me delicious.
I'm particularly excited to work with you today. Yeah, I love your voice.
I love your voice. Can we just, Jonathan, just leave the room?
At the end of this?
Listen,
Tune in to find out if there's a threesome or Priyanka and Jeanette are single no more.
Is this what happened?
No. I wish
Sounds good.
Yeah, I sleep with all my guests. If only. Weird sidebar. You've listened to the podcast. How do you feel about my intro?
Ooh,
it's like that little that was terrible.
I kind of love it.
I went on a date with a guy, a second date, so he had listened to my podcast. It always comes up on dates, which I'm not going to be apologetic about. But he was like, I find your intro to your podcast really sexy.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I was like, and he's like, can we do it to your podcast? And I was like, no.
Oh God, this needs to be a video podcast because you're getting excellent facial expressions here. So,
now you're going to listen to the podcast, aren't you? That's never been said to me before. I was like, it's like slightly. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to say it because that's going to ruin it for me forevermore. I was going to say it's kind of porny, but then I listened back to it and I'm like, no, it's not. It's like fun, commercially poppy.
The music isn't porny, but the suggestion that you do it to your voice is kind of like if you're a porn star and then you're sleeping with a boy or a girl and they're like, oh, can we do it to you, doing it to him?
Is that what it is? It's that super meta, like
a little bit.
I don't know. Anywho, back to you. Priyanka, you're single. Oh, by the way, and Jonathan, this is new to you. I just had to tell him he was the voice of the patriarchy, and he reacted very positively.
Sure.
So the rules of the podcast are that I'm going to talk to Priyanka about her love life, which I'm sure is very juicy. You're going to sit back and listen to everything we are going to have to say.
I'm a good listener.
And then, that's so wonderful to hear. And then I'm going to check in with you, and that's your time if you want to respond or if you have questions or just whatever, throw it at us.
I won't speak unless spoken to.
Those are the rules. Thank you for understanding.
I mean, how are you still single, Jonathan Alonso? I just outed your entire name on a podcast.
Oh, we'll edit. Maybe we'll edit. It'll be like, it'll be garbled when people play it back.
They can see I'm blushing this whole time.
Aren't we all? Okay, great. So Priyanka, tell me about your single journey. Where are you at in your love life, in your single life?
Oh, good Lord.
Catching much to date.
Have you watched the show The Good Place?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's imagine The Good Place, and I'm currently on the train from the medium place to The Good Place, which is actually the bad place, but I like it a little bit naughty, so I'm not very angry about that.
This is a really intense metaphor. Okay. Yeah.
I've been single for going on 5 years now.
Okay. I'm 10, so don't be ashamed of that.
Oh God, I really like myself, so I'm not mad.
Good girl. Good girl.
I'm very, very selective about who I let into my life.
Good.
And I have an amazing circle of like fucking brilliant friends that I could call it, and we all live in different time zones. One lives in India. She used to live in Scotland. The other lives in California, but she used to live in India.
Oh my goodness.
And we all went to architecture school together. So we went through death, came through beyond, and so we're going to be together forever. It's great.
Are they single? Is this
one of them
your
is
single
double.
group?
One of them just got married.
Okay.
Well, not just 2
Double,
years ago.
I love that.
The other one is the three of us have been friends for going on, I want to say 13 years now, or something crazy like that. And my one single friend it has been single and is the most inspiring type of single, because she gets her heart broken this year alone. It's been maybe about 3 times, and is still so open to
meeting
love
someone new,
and puts herself out there and is not risk averse like me, sat here going, you don't get to fuck with my feelings, and unless I let you. Like, moving to America was a very blinkers on, you're here to do this one major thing.
Yeah, and this has come up on the podcast before, just like, this is why we pose probably that a lot of New Yorkers have a harder time dating, because you don't move to New York unless you are passionate about or driven about something that you want. And that is the number one in your life. And then dating and relationships are the number 2. And so if we're all prioritizing the number 1, all of us are risk averse and don't fuck with my feelings, because we are here for that one specific thing. You know, it makes us harder to date because we don't want to compromise.
Yeah, that was so on the money. That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
However, the American dream is so delicious. Again, delicious.
Love it.
Because of the inherent optimism that is really woven into our culture, and as a country or as a collective of humans with borders.
But tell me more about what being single has been like for you in New York City.
Oh my gosh. So dating, I kind of grew up a little bit everywhere, like all over the world. But I've primarily dated in India while I was at university, and I went to high school in India.
She's like, where do I start my story? So when I was 6.
I'm such a fucking rebel, right? So, it started off with, my family is not very religious. Thank heaven. That opens up a whole world of just train of thought.
Opportunities. Yeah, sure.
They're not very religious, but I grew up in a very mixed country, which is Hindu, Muslim, Christian, and Zoroastrian. Started dating when I was 14 and have pretty much serial dated until I was 23. And then 23 onwards, I've stayed fairly single. And the only gap that I had in my dating during my younger years was maybe a few months in between relationships. And like, I was pretty monogamous. So at the time, we'll talk now. But it was like 6-month relationships, 8-month relationships, then a 5-year relationship. And it was fabulous. I've only dated excellent men.
That's lovely to hear.
It kind of really is. And now I read a lot of stories about
like mine.
Your Facebook is my favorite thing.
I'm glad you are
and
laughing at my pain.
I mean, Schadenfreude, not so much, right? I've stayed pretty single after having moved to America, because dating in India and dating in America, really different, was the original point I was trying to make. In America, you sort of start off with the sexual flirtation, but in India, it's more of a courtship process. And so how you meet people, and how I've pretty much met everybody, is a friend of a friend, and you usually meet in a huge group.
Oh, that sounds amazing, actually.
Delightful. It's such an intelligent way to meet quality people.
Yeah.
And it's so lovely because the whole community kind of comes around you for it. And you go, oh, Priyanka's eyeing that guy over there. We'll call him Jason. And Priyanka's eyeing Jason over there. Wonderful. Is Jason eyeing Priyanka? Oh, yes, he is. And then the friends around you will go, you know what, just go fetch me that little thing from that table over there. And then they'll send you on your way. And then you're like, ooh, Jason's kind of nice. And he goes, oh, Priyanka's kind of nice. Wonderful. The friends kind of get around you and go, we need to throw another party. And then they throw the next party just to kind of bring a couple people together. And so you meet these people in social settings time and time again in like a no pressure situation. And you get to know who they are. And you're not dating at this point.
Right.
You're just spending time with each other. You're maybe, doing
as human beings.
As human beings with context.
I could see how you would be in several relationships from 14 to 23. Having met people that way, and then how interesting that you come to America, more specifically, you come to New York.
Yeah.
And the system is completely dismantled.
That's
fascinating.
Really different. And plus, I don't date within the industry because for me, I've worked far too hard. And I have absolutely no intention of mixing work with play.
I got you.
Because to be here, to be privileged enough to get to do this, because it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of emotional stamina for the people around you, and it takes long-term mental grit.
Yeah. I'm not
going to let an insecure man get in the middle of that.
Well, that's like assuming that
I know
actors or people in the industry are insecure.
Again, risk averse. And there are so many wonderful people around. So
I don't like it because I find that most of us that tend towards, especially if you're actors, but in our industry, most people tend to be, you're your own champion, right? So you're the number one. You're chef number one in the room, and so two people together who are the number one, who's going to be in the relationship. You know how they say there's like the planter and the gardener? That's like a terrible metaphor. Someone told me it's
I'm so curious. Go on.
In a relationship, there always has to be, or the other one I've heard is like when you're thinking about two, like, I hate this one also because it's so sexual.
The star
but like
and the wagon?
The two plugs, like there's a female and a male end.
Oh,
like one always has to be like the giver and one has to be the receiver. So if you have two people who are alpha personalities who have treated their life and their career as if they are the most important person in the room, they are the chef in the kitchen. You can't have two chefs in the kitchen. So it sometimes gets, and my philosophy is this is why there's a lot of divorces in Hollywood, is because there's two alpha lead personalities and neither wants to compromise.
I have 3 exceptional humans that I will date who all exist in the industry.
Yes.
Actually 4, one of them being dead.
That doesn't make sense. How are you going to date them?
I wouldn't be able to. So it's all hypothetical, isn't it? It's that far away in the future.
This is amazing.
The dead one, the man who got away, is George Carlin. I fucking love him.
Okay. So if you met his like doppelganger, or if they cloned him, you would date him.
Oh, God.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
Good to know.
He's delightful. The second one, Christian Ball. The third one is Jen Colella, who is the kindest person I've ever met and incredibly sexy.
Okay.
And the third is Trevor Noah, who I also enjoy immensely.
Oh, my God. I know. I just love the fact that you're like, I'm not dating anyone in the industry. Hold on. Except for these 4 people.
Except for those 4 people.
I think
that's wonderful people.
No, I think that's really charming. Everyone should have exceptions to their own rules anyway, especially in dating. So have you been, you've been dating, meeting people on apps. How has it been going the last
I've tried
5
all
years?
of these apps.
Yeah, me too. Girl.
So it started off with Tinder, very, very late adopter because I don't think I function very well on apps. I'm much more...
Nobody does.
Yeah.
They're broken. They're broken pieces of ways to communicate.
Completely agree. But there we are. We've got apps just to like find humans from a larger pool, and especially because I'm always working in the industry. When I'm not acting, I'm taking pictures of people who are also in the industry.
Right. It is a great way to reach outside the pool, the circle of people that you know. Absolutely. Agreed.
And people generally I found are extremely nice. I have not met a ridiculous human over apps. I know your eyes are getting wider and wider for the people listening in. Jeanette.
I'm sure they are. I'm like, yes. Yes, I know.
I mean, I've read your stories, but yeah. They've usually been amazing. Completely not my cup of tea, however, because why? Why are they not my cup of tea? I'm thinking of all of them as a collective, which is just unfair.
Are these like people that you've met from one app, or just generally people that you're going on dates with that you're meeting on apps, any app?
Yeah, the app dates are significantly different to my, I just
real
met you at
life
a
dates?
coffee shop date.
Tell me why.
It's, most people I don't think are very good at writing profiles, and so there's just a bit of an emotional and mental disconnect. When you meet them in person, you're like, oh God, I was so expecting somebody else. But no, let me appreciate you as a person right now. Oh, nope. So it turns out I don't appreciate you as a person. Goodbye. But have a nice life, please do, because I'm sure there's somebody there's a female plug for your male plug. Go enjoy your life. I'm just not with me or in my pants. And also I find that, my goodness, these men want to like sleep with you immediately. And that is not my bag at all. Very, very few people get to be in my life, let alone get to stick their penises where they'd enjoy. Wow, can you cut that out, please?
No, absolutely not. No, that was amazing.
Oh, gosh.
But especially because that's like very astute, those two observations. Like, firstly, that you not necessarily are meeting the person that you thought you were going to be meeting. And secondly, yes, and this has come up before in other podcast episodes, we talk about like this expectation of women wanting to connect as humans and men expecting some kind of like sexual exchange. And like, where is that coming from? Obviously, we haven't reached the bottom of it. Maybe this is something that Jonathan can talk about later on. But like, what is it around our online culture that that leads to that disconnect? And what is it about the online culture that shifts men into that expectation? And I think it just comes from the fact, and both of these are in this example, when we're looking at someone's profile, they're two-dimensional. So if you're a man who's driven by the visual, let's say that, this is a two-dimensional object of desire. And when women are looking at a profile, is a two-dimensional picture of a person. This person looks like they like to go to baseball games, and they have a suit on, so they have a job. And oh, look, he has a dog. That's all you have. Which
is a terribly unfair way of choosing. Oh, would I?
No,
like
it's
to
totally
go
insane.
Yeah,
it's not even unfair. It doesn't make any sense if you think about it. Like, that's how we're meeting people.
Yeah.
Because, and you know, there are other apps like OkCupid that allows you a longer profile, which should sort of prevent that kind of quick objective, or subjective, I should say, that quick opinionated choice. But I'm finding that because everything's so quick in today's society, and we're scrolling through Instagram, just looking, making a 2-second adjustment, that no one is even reading long profiles. So though, how do we get around this? We do not know.
I don't think online is the answer in the traditional way that we're looking at it. Traditional being Tinder and Hinge and all of that. I think it's, I've had much more success going out with guys who like meet me on Instagram or meet me on Facebook, because there's a bit of sussing out that occurs there. So there's a bit of like history, there's context.
And you could probably see their real life instead of like curated photos from like what I want to show you that I look like.
Which is also Instagram, honestly. I use it like personally a lot for business.
So you're promoting yourself, yeah.
Pretty much, but my story is a human. So there's that. It's the lack of the right information that's present to actually make you attracted to a person.
Yeah.
And it has everything to do with the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you move your face when you laugh at a joke, and it's that's got to be there.
Yeah.
Hinge is not too bad with it because they let you. I've been off the other one, so maybe they've changed it. But Hinge lets you upload videos. to it in place of pictures, which I think is dead helpful because I probably would just upload a video going, hello, I'm this, I'm that, but you're this, you're that.
All do that.
We should experiment.
I never thought about that.
That would be fabulous. I
like
do
a
have
slate, like, like to use an actor term.
Oh my gosh.
Hi, I'm Jeanette. I've been single for, 10 years. I really love ice cream.
I'm curious, why do you lead with that?
What?
That I've been single for 10 years.
I wouldn't. I was being sarcastic because that's what we're talking about on hashtag single. I don't know that I would say that on a dating app.
That would be interesting. Because I think a lot of people have been single for a very long time.
Well, that's the thing. Is like, this has come up on the podcast before. We talk about how people don't talk about being single and that there's a bit of shame around admitting you're single as if you have failed in some way or you haven't been, quote unquote, I hate this word, but chosen or picked, which has been,
oh, wow. That's
been said to me before. That's sort of, so I think people don't want to talk about it. It's like uncomfortable state as if life is not working for you. And I just want to reclaim that. So when it was hard for me to say I have been single for a decade. So I'm trying to get better at saying unapologetically, I've been single for a decade.
Half a decade. Come here. We're high-fiving.
We're high-fiving.
Across the table.
That was a terrible high five. Fingers touching.
I'm really short. So you could blame that on me. Single-wise, I'm Indian, so, but luckily, again, the non-religious family helps with there not being a pressure on me to get married or whatever. But we've got Tinder in India in the form of our many aunties who are like, oh,
like matchmakers.
Yeah, I have this boy. He's in the other country, but are you wanting to? Oh, sorry, that's so offensive.
It's not offensive because they're your aunts.
They're
That's how
my aunts.
I can mimic my aunts like nothing. Like it's offensive if I do it. It's not offensive if you do it.
It's like, how do you tell your aunt I've slept with far too many men?
She's gonna listen to this podcast, girl.
Acceptable to, like a traditional Indian family, and I won't apologize for it because Indian women have been so boxed in. Oh goodness!
Yeah.
I had to change my behavior being in an all-girls school because it would be too enticing for boys. It's kind of ridiculous. It's a culture, and that's something that I'm really interested in, like, breaking norms. Like, my parents knew that I was with a man who was 10 years older than I was, and we dated for 5 years.
Yeah.
Like, I would stay over, he would stay over all the time. What do you think we were doing, chanting the Hanuman Chalisa in our bedroom?
Yes.
Which is the Hindu equivalent of like a rosary or something. Like, what do you think we were doing? And
I hope so. During sex.
So there is hope yet, is my point. Just lie a lot.
In real life, off app. Everyone get yourself a good Indian aunt.
Oh, goodness. I will hook you up, ladies.
Really?
I'm useless. I might as well give them, like, good fodder, you know? And these are people that will take care of you. They've got jobs. They're well employed.
Can we just start, like, a whole matchmaking service from you and your family?
I think that would be a fabulous
and your friends,
job.
Obviously.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm into it.
They'll find you a very good boy.
I don't know.
It's going to be fabulous.
I love this so much. Is there any other kind of conflict that you have found with it sounds like you've been rebellious against the rules in your culture and your upbringing from the start, but is there any other kind of disconnect or discord that you found from the way you were brought up and where you were brought up and like coming into not just American, but New York culture and dating or present day online dating? Like where do you find any discomfort between those two things?
Worthiness. So, self-worth is a really, really big deal for me. I went through a horrible breakup a few years ago, and I didn't realize how much my identity was just wrapped up in being this person's girlfriend, this alpha male's girlfriend, while I am a happy alpha female. And we broke up. I was shattered. I was also in the middle of architecture, so that didn't help for stress levels. And then I spent like 2 months rebuilding myself from ground up. did a whole lot. I'm a self-help junkie. So like, ply me with Tony Robbins, give me Marie Forleo, like, light me up Tim Ferriss. I'm waiting.
I love it.
So I read so much and educated myself about what it is to be human as Priyanka and built my self-worth from the inside out. And then I put myself in an industry that basically rejects you 20 times a day, which is why it's so easy for me now, because it's divesting your worth from anything that you're doing. You are worthy because you exist on the planet. Have a nice life. You know, it has nothing to do with what you earn, which is a huge thing for me culturally. Success.
And American and New York.
I suppose it's an American thing too, right? Money equals success. What am I talking about? Have I watched TV? It was like a huge Indian thing. Indian is, you must be very well educated. And I'm probably the least educated person in my family currently. Everybody has a master's. I have a bachelor's degree in architecture, which was 5 years. So it's engineering, if that helps mum and dad. I love them. They're great. And then I went to conservatory for 2 years, which is not quite the same thing. And everybody in my family is like PhDing and mastering and all of that. And so for the longest time, I felt like I had failed there, but also I don't have to get a master's in order to be on Broadway. I don't have to have a master's to be on TV. I did that without having to do any of that. And the second part is money. You need to earn really, really well in order to be considered a worthy human. Both ridiculous concepts. And I work every day, or I allow myself to just release that every single day. Going, your worth has nothing to do with anything. And if you want to feel that external sense of like egoic worthiness, train yourself to get that from treating people kindly. Train yourself to get that sense of quote unquote worthiness, because it will always be quote unquote worthiness from being that wonderful light for somebody who fucking needs it. Or it comes from giving, it comes from contribution. Because as soon as you've reached like that growth stage, the next part of fulfillment is really that giving. And that's what I mean by, I really think an alpha male and an alpha female can completely exist harmoniously. Because when my alpha male partner, my amazing, I'm just going to quote all the people that I've dated in my brain. I will not say their names out loud. Are shining. I feel so happy in my own sense of worthiness.
That's because
to play
you're
the tambourine
a full human being, and you have worked. No, I'm not even kidding. I'm like, you have worked on yourself to know your self-worth, and you can bring that to the table. But the opposite, the other side of the equation is that you are seeking a person that you assume has done as much work on themselves as you, which is not 100% the case. And I have found in general that we as actors have to do the self-work because we are rejected all the time.
Isn't that fabulous?
And because you are exploring human behavior and human emotion in general, that we're a little more self-aware than sort of like your average person in New York City. That is a large assumption, I know, but that's been kind of my experience. So maybe that's where the disconnect is coming in. You're coming in as a person who knows her value and knows her worth, but not receiving that person on the other side.
I'm pretty quick. Technical fix for that tends to be, I only go on dates with people that are demonstrably ambitious.
Oh, damn, girl.
Meaning,
girl, watch out, New York City. Oh, Priyanka is ready for you.
I don't mean this to sound elitist or anything.
Don't own it.
It really is not. It takes a certain kind of person who wants to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a turn on for me too.
Right. And they know themselves to a much larger extent than the rest of society. That's a terrible thing to say. Let me be more clear about what I mean. Entrepreneurs in general are extremely ambitious. They've got vision. Yeah. They have idea. They're not afraid of failing quite as much. They're not as risk averse. And for me, I like people that are not terribly risk averse because I am. And I think that's the balancing thing that I really enjoy. I like being around people that are far smarter than I am. It's not a comfortable feeling by any means, but we're with each other for growth and for pleasure. And to take care of each other, you know? Kyle Cease, he's, I don't know what he is. He used to be a comedian. Now he does a whole lot of motivational, wonderful stuff. He says every interaction needs to be a win-win-win. So it's got to be a win for you. It's got to be a win for the other person. And it's got to be a win for the rest of the world as well, if you can make that happen. And I think that's particularly a fabulous way to look at life, isn't it?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. At this point, I want to I could see Jonathan is like, yes. I know we threw a lot of things on the table, but Priyanka also said some really beautiful nuggets as well.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what it came top of mind. Anything that Priyanka said about that discord of our expectations versus what we bring to the table.
Well, yes, I was thinking about what you were saying with the apps and how men view as a two-dimensional object.
Oh, I saw you nodding vociferously at that.
I did, well, because we can't talk about that without talking about pornography and the addiction that men have in general, or that people have in general to pornography. I gave up pornography about 4 months ago, and I've been clean.
I've been clean.
I have been clean. It is a drug.
Congratulations.
No, in all
it is. It's an addiction like anything else.
It is a drug.
It's something you turn to feel good in the moment.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And it never ends up feeling as good as we think it will.
Yeah.
We fantasize how it's going to feel. And I journal about that. I journaled about that, and that's why I stopped. And it was also getting in the way of my in real life sex life.
Yeah, of course it does.
Because I'm associating sex with a two-dimensional.
There you go. There you go.
Instead of a human being.
Yeah.
And another thing I was
read porn. I enjoy that quite a lot. Yeah, because you can imagine what you want without the bodily effluvia, which is never fun for anybody.
With the porn as well, it's like the expectations that men have when they go onto these apps. Because I know that I've downloaded apps in low moments, like moments of loneliness,
like dating apps,
like dating apps. Yes. And then 2 days later, I delete it because there's shame. Because I'm like, it was 12 and it was midnight and I was lonely.
And that's why people reach out.
And I was horny and I needed to download this app for this one moment to get this sense of connection.
You want that high of like
exactly
connecting with another
So I feel like
human being.
a lot of men use these dating apps for the lowest parts of themselves to fulfill those lowest parts of themselves, whereas women are using them to for their higher self. It seems to me.
As Priyanka said, as like to grow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, I'm not on the apps anymore. I'm only trying to meet people in real life. And even still, when I meet someone that's so beautiful and charming and I just want to date them, there's still this part of me that knows that I shouldn't because I need to work on myself right now. And I say that and I'm currently dating someone and
wait, you're not single?
I am.
No.
I am very single.
Okay.
I will let the record show. I am single, but I'm dating in New York.
Okay.
I consider dating in New York as being single, as long as you're not exclusive with somebody.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know.
I usually do my
as long as you're not like
diligence.
exclusive with someone.
No, I'm definitely
Okay,
not
good.
exclusive
I
with
got
someone.
you.
But then that does merge with like,
Sorry to
how
judge, but we are trying to bring people in here who are positively single in their life while also going on dates.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to share just to wrap things up? Like what emotionally really like you had that instinct to respond? Anything that Priyanka said?
I just think it's really important for men to express themselves and to allow ourselves to be vulnerable and to be honest with how we're feeling and to communicate that. I'm trying to be the drop in the water that encourages men to open up, that encourages them to cry if they want to cry, to journal, to talk to and another thing that I'm trying to work on is also like telling my truth without trying to protect someone's feelings. And I think there's a difference between telling your truth, like being harsh about it. And I think there's a way that you can tell your truth compassionately.
Absolutely.
And
radical, compassionate honesty.
Exactly. Even though you know that this truth might hurt somebody, you're at least saying it with compassion, and you're at least.
I think that's very attractive.
Yeah, well, it's because it's going to hurt. Like no matter what, if something is really truthful and it's something that's kind of conflicting with what like you might believe to be true, and then I tell you my truth, and that just creates disjunct within that, it's going to hurt for a second. But then the more that you settle with what that is, the easier it is to.
And hence growth.
Exactly.
Hence growth.
Hence growth.
You guys.
What are we on the planet here
Exactly.
You know, everyone should be dating the three of us because we are so fucking woke.
I could talk for hours.
All right.
We all
your
could.
Condoms,
We all could.
Get off the pill. Let men get vasectomies because it's about fucking time.
Girl, that's another conversation altogether. I really, the two of you are very, very, beautiful human beings who are very in touch with your own personal truth and know that you're on a journey for growth, as I'd like to think we all are. So thank you for bringing that piece of beauty to the podcast, which can also be sometimes dark. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed just hearing that and the positivity and knowing that there's good humans out there who can see us the way that we bring ourselves to the table. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I'm crying. Are you crying? Oh my God, you guys. Yes, thank you. If you guys, and obviously the conversation doesn't stop here. If you want to have further conversation with Priyanka or with Jonathan, please just comment below, or hit us up on any of our socials. Mm-hmm. We love to continue these really interesting in-depth conversations about like what the fuck being single is all about and what are we all doing. But thank you guys both so much for being my guests. Jonathan, it was awesome to meet you. And I look forward to hearing updates on your single lives. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. We will catch you next time.